When rebuilding an engine, often you are left with piles of used parts, many of which are replaced because it's recommended as best practice. Well, if you're like me, you might ask yourself, is this really necessary, or can some of these parts be reused? In this video, I'm going to walk you through a number of engine parts found in most American V8s that can be reused without adding a lot of risk to your rebuild, and surprisingly, some parts which are actually better used than new. Over the years, I've rebuilt 6 or 7 engines, and like anything, you learn and you get better each time you do it. The tricky part with rebuilding an engine, though, is you put a lot of time and effort into rebuilding a complex assembly, and you really have no idea how things are going to go until you turn the key for the first time. This is why it's very important to both take your time and choose the right parts for your engine. And right now, I'm going through this very process as I rebuild a small block Ford for my Shelby Cobra replica. When it comes to choosing whether to reuse engine parts, you really just need to ask yourself one question, and that's what's the engine going to be used for? Is this going to be a daily driver or a mild engine build for the street? Or is this a performance application where you're maybe adding boost or you're going to be racing the motor or something? I'm going to challenge you that if you aren't building a performance motor, you can safely reuse a lot of the parts typically replaced during a rebuild without adding a lot of risk, and you'll end up saving a lot of money too. Now obviously you need to inspect the parts closely for excessive wear or failure, but if your core saw frequent oil changes and the motor wasn't beat on, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be able to reuse a lot of those parts in a street setup. To start things out, I selected a bunch of engine parts you typically replace in a rebuild, or how about they're recommended to be replaced. And first, we're going to talk about reusing main and rod bearings. When rebuilding an engine, it's a no-brainer to replace the main bearings and the rod bearings, because almost always you need to measure your core's worn crankshaft journals first. Then you can purchase bearings sized to match the crankshaft so you have the correct clearances recommended for that engine. Okay, now I'm going to throw a curveball. Cam bearings. Now they're a little different. So cam bearings always see the same load on them, which is going to be the valve train, whereas the mains and the rods, that load can differ based on how much gas you're giving the engine. So typically, wear on cam bearings is low, and in a mild setup, you can almost always safely reuse them. This bearing came out of a high mileage rebuild, and as you can see, it looks pretty good. Usually cam bearings are damaged when someone's not being very careful when they're putting a camshaft in or out, and then what happens is the cam lobes, they dig into the bearing babbitt and cause gouges and scratches and things. And if that happens, you probably want to replace them. In addition, cam bearings are one piece, which basically makes it impossible to spin a bearing. So high level, unless you're putting in some really heavy springs with a radical cam or something, I'd just reuse them. Anytime you replace the camshaft, you should almost always replace the valve springs. And the reason for this is the material properties of that spring steel, they're going to change over the life of the engine. Specifically, not only do valve open and seat pressures go down, but the springs almost always develop stress cracks in them, and that eventually leads to failure. However, the more important reason is your new cam is going to have very specific open and closed seat pressures for the valves. And if you don't follow those recommendations, the first time you wind that engine up and redline it, your valves are going to meet the pistons and probably grenade your engine. If you've never replaced valve springs, it's really not that hard to do. A valve spring compressor on Amazon or Summit, they're cheap, maybe like $50. And you can do a whole cylinder head in like 20-25 minutes. So bottom line, replace the valve springs, it's not that hard to do. Okay, roller lifters. Reuse them, but with one important caveat, that you should take them apart and clean them thoroughly and check them for any excessive wear. My degreaser of choice is Purple Power, $13 for 2.5 gallons, which I think is a steal. But after you get them taken apart and clean, you should measure the lifter OD and verify that's in spec. And that way they're not going to be rattling around in the lifter bore. But more importantly is you want to take a really close look at the roller itself. Inside the roller are a bunch of teeny tiny needle bearings, and if you feel any grittiness when you spin the roller, don't reuse them. It's just way too much risk. And the risk here is that roller seizes up on your cam lobe and bores a hole right through it. And high level lifters, they're pretty cheap, I guess. So for this Ford Windsor I'm building, a whole set I think is like $110, $120. So that's pretty cheap. But still, there's nothing wrong with these lifters. They just needed a cleaning and they should be good to go. When it comes to flat cam lifters, never reuse them. So these actually spin on the cam load and they do wear out. So the only way I would ever reuse one of these is if I had a matched set, meaning I knew exactly which lifter went to which cam lobe. Otherwise, don't touch them, you gotta buy new ones. When it comes to the oil pump, you can safely reuse this too. But like the lifters, you need to take it apart and clean it thoroughly and inspect it for any kind of excessive wear, because any extra slop in the oil pump correlates almost directly to reduced oil pressure, and we all know how important that is to a properly functioning engine. A watch out on oil pumps is the bypass spring, because this spring can also weaken over time and cause the bypass valve to open at a lower oil pressure. Replacement springs are available, but a lot of times it's cheaper just to buy a whole new pump. You also want to make sure your bypass valve opens smoothly and it's like free of any sludge or gunk, because any kind of crap in that valve can cause fluctuations in oil pressure, which is bad. Another tip on oil pumps is you don't need the high volume oil pump on the street. When you run a high volume oil pump, you almost always push that extra oil out the bypass valve, and you're not helping your engine in any way. Instead, you're adding stress to the cam and distributor gears, which drive the oil pump, and that's going to lead to accelerated wear. So do yourself a favor, unless you're racing, stick with a standard volume oil pump on the street. You can definitely reuse the oil pump pickup, but you gotta make sure it's clean, specifically behind the screen of the pickup. If you peruse the online forums, there's definitely cases where people haven't gotten them clean behind the screen, and there's maybe some gasket material or some sludge or whatever, and it gets pulled into the pump, it finds its way into an oil gallery where it clogs things up, or even worse, it gets into the bearings. So coming full circle, just make sure it's clean and bolt it on. Okay, I have two very different thoughts on reusing the oil pump drive shaft depending on what kind of engine you're rebuilding. If it's a Chevrolet, go ahead and reuse it. The OEM one is beefy, it's fine, it's gonna work great, even on a high volume pump if you decide to go that route. On this 5-liter Ford Windsor though, it's quite the opposite. So the OEM drive shaft is a wimpy 1/4 inch, and this is also a fatigue component, which is prone to snap at the distributor or the pump. In a Ford rebuild, I recommend using an aftermarket drive shaft like an ARP. You're not going to regret this, and you'll be kicking yourself if you lose your engine because you didn't replace the wimpy OEM part. When rebuilding your engine, you can reuse the cylinder head bolts, but you need to check and make sure they're not torque to yield. And what those bolts are is they use the steel's material properties to maintain the clamping force over the life of the fastener, and they're going to grow in length, so that's why you got to replace them. Now that being said, I almost always replace the factory head bolts with aftermarket head bolts from ARP. When you unbox these fasteners, it's almost like you're unwrapping a miniature work of art because they're just perfect. Like the threads are perfect, the oxide coating is smooth and polished. I mean, you can tell you're holding a high quality part in your hand. And on a cylinder head, accurate clamping forces are critical to making the head gasket seat correctly, and those perfect threads definitely help here. I'd also avoid using studs on the street. So these are meant for frequent teardowns, so you don't need to reseal the water jackets on the through holes. And you do get superior clamping forces too, I can't discount that. But they really aren't necessary on the street, and you're just throwing money away. Okay, the oil pan. Almost always would I recommend reusing the oil pan. And here's why. I've been through the nightmare a few times now of buying an aftermarket pan made with Chinese dyes or wherever they came from, and they don't fit right, and they almost always leak either at the front seal or the rear seal. And then what I did next is what anyone would do is I started torquing those oil pan bolts, and I mean I'm torquing them. It's like 35-40 foot-pounds, which is approaching the limit of what you should be putting on those fasteners, and they still leak, so it'll drive you nuts. This one I'm cleaning up here is out of an '89 Fox Mustang, and I'm using electrolysis to get the last of the surface rust off, after which I'm going to put on a coat of paint and it'll be good to go, and it won't leak. You'll often hear that you should never reuse a timing set because of chain stretch, which can impact the camshaft's timing. Well, the kicker here is that most chain stretch on a timing set happens in the first 500 or 1,000 miles of use, so in effect, most used timing sets are probably stretched about the same regardless of miles. The biggest concern you should have about reusing a timing set is not chain stretch, it's actually chain breakage, which will smoke your pistons and your valve train. Because it's difficult to gauge chain life, I'm going to give you 2 recommendations when reusing a timing set. So the first, go with a double roller so you have the redundancy if a link or a pin breaks on the chain. And second, if the engine has more than say 75,000 miles or so, be safe and just replace it. On a roller cam engine, the cam plate prevents cam lock with thrust loading, and this is a part you're going to want to replace even if you only see a little wear on it, because it can impact the cam lobe location in relation to the lifter bores. In addition to the lifters riding off center on the cam lobes, this can also add side loading to the timing chain, which isn't good. If you look at these 2 cam plates from Ford Windsors, it's pretty clear which one you're going to use, and the other one, it really isn't that bad. But on that note, this kind of wear is typical of a high volume oil pump also, as that higher force pump drives the camshaft into the thrust plate. Like the oil pan, reusing the timing cover, on Fords anyway, is worthwhile because they have the same issues the oil pans do, at least on the cheap ones, where the profile of the timing cover doesn't match the engine block. You can end up with oil and coolant leaks, and the telltale sign is when your gasket set matches the block well, but it just isn't quite right on the timing cover. Like maybe it's partially on the profile, but it's not fully covering the surface. Now this one here, this is a factory cover and I definitely want to reuse it, but unfortunately there's some pitting where the water pump mounted to it, and this might be a stretch goal on this rebuild, as I might buy a TIG setup and see if I can go ahead and TIG it and then machine this flat on my mill again. Reusing timing covers on small block Chevys though you'll have no problem. So basically the design of the block contained the fuel pump push rod off a cam lobe, so there's not an eccentric, and because of that the timing cover, it's just a stamped piece of sheet metal, and the fasteners will pull that snug every time and you're never going to have trouble with leaks or anything. So if you have a small block Chevy, go ahead and reuse it. Core plugs, unless they're leaking, just leave them, reuse them. But there's a catch here, is you definitely want to clean the water jackets on your rebuild, whether you're going to use vinegar or you're going to have a machine shop hot tank it or something. And if you're going to be doing those, cleaning the water jackets, well then it's probably best to pull the core plugs out and replace them, because it's going to help clean the water jackets better. Replacing these, it's really no big deal at all. So you'll see I machined a tool here to do it, but you can use a socket. They're real easy to knock in. They're cheap. It's probably like $1 a piece. So it's really a toss-up. If you want to replace them, go for it, but you shouldn't feel like you have to on a rebuild. Pistons are a special class of part where clearances are critical to a good functioning engine, and specifically it's piston to bore clearance, which in large part is directly proportional to more power and better sealing during the combustion cycle, less blow-by. Following the clearance spec also ensures your pistons aren't rattling around in the bore with excessive piston slap. So if you're going to reuse them, I'd only do this if your cylinder bores are straight. So you need to check that, and you need to do it with a bore gauge. If you choose to reuse your pistons, I also recommend using cast iron rings versus like a moly or a plasma coated ring, because the softer iron is going to wear at the same rate as the iron of your engine block, and you're going to end up getting better sealing faster. So they might not last as long, but you're going to get better sealing on a used setup. On the last small block Ford I rebuilt, I did reuse the pistons and I used iron rings, and I ended up checking leak down after 1,000 miles or so, and it looked great. Definitely go ahead and reuse the push rods, but like any used parts, you're going to want to clean them inside and out, because any kind of gunk in the push rod could limit your ability to transmit oil to your valve train, and that could lead to a lubrication issue. So you're also going to want to make sure they're straight, and the simple way to do this is just roll them across a tabletop or a nice flat surface. And if you want to get forensic, you can pull out a caliper or a micrometer and check and see if they're in spec. And on that note, Ford Windsors are very picky on pushrod length because they use a pedestal mount on the factory cylinder heads versus small block Chevys, which was adjustable. So Ford likely chose to do this because it was like a bolt and forget setup at the factory, not needing to set lash. But it really is not a great design because it eliminates your ability to adjust for a pushrod length, and you end up having to buy new pushrods. Kind of sucks. I've reused pushrods a few times now and never really had an issue. And if you do have an issue, it's going to make a noise. It'll make a click or a little knock, and you'll know, and then you got to adjust something. In most cases, I recommend replacing the fuel pump on your rebuild if it's a mechanical pump. And that's because there's a rubber diaphragm inside the pump, and it rips almost 100% of the time if the pump is old enough, independent of mileage on the engine. And what happens next is that fuel pump starts pumping the crankcase full of gas, and then it dilutes your oil from 10W30 down to 0W5 or whatever. So not only do you have a lubrication issue, but you can quite literally blow your engine up. Now there are weep holes on the pump that are designed to vent the gas out if that happens, if the diaphragm rips. But I've had this happen to me firsthand, and it only weeps out as much as it can, right? These holes are only so big, and the rest has to go somewhere, and it ends up in your crankcase. You usually catch fuel pump failure by a pool on the garage floor, which on its own is a risk. Go with a new pump. You won't regret your house not burning down. If the camshaft gear in your distributor looks good and it's electronic ignition like HEI, go ahead and reuse it. But if it's points, just junk it. You can get an aftermarket HEI setup for a small block Ford or Chevy for cheap, like less than $100, and you're gonna get superior ignition timing and energy delivery. If you do choose to reuse it, make sure you check the vacuum advance canister. So I had one of these go bad on me, and it was kind of hard to tell. And to compound it, I was starting a flat cam motor for the first time, where the first few minutes it runs are critical to that lifter cam seating. The engine would start and die right away, and I had to advance the timing to something very radical just to get it to run. And if I had a working vacuum advance, that first start would have been a whole lot less stressful. Bottom line, bolt on your electronic distributor and move on. You can reuse the factory harmonic balancer on most mild street builds, and the function of it is to soak up high frequency impulses or torque spikes from the crankshaft as the pistons fire. The most important part of the balancer is the elastomer that's sandwiched between the inner hub and the outer ring, because this transmits the vibrations and the shock from the crankshaft to the outer ring, which really just is a shock absorber. Even if the elastomer looks cracked and kind of ratty, which at face value you think, hey, I should probably replace this, as long as that outer ring isn't slipping, that elastomer is doing its job because it's able to transmit crankshaft shock loading to the outer ring. Aside from the elastomer, the other watch out on balancers is a groove worn into the hub shaft where the old seal rode. And if you find this to be excessive, you're probably going to want to replace it because inevitably it's going to leak oil here. Okay, so the last part, the water pump. So in a lot of cases, I would recommend reusing the water pump on an older engine or a car. And that's because, like the oil pan and timing cover, the new pumps aren't always the same as the old ones. Sometimes the new pumps add universal provisions for like a bypass or a different heater core configuration that you don't need. And then you end up having to add plugs, or you might even have mechanical interference issues. You can find water pump rebuild kits on Rock Auto for cheap, and it's real easy to do. It's like a bearing replacement and a seal replacement, and you're done. Okay, so we've come to the end, and now I'm interested to know what you think. So have you reused engine parts like me with success, or do you think what I've shared is too risky? I'm always interested to learn new tips and tricks, so don't hesitate to leave me a comment. And also, stay tuned. I got a sweet 289 Hypo clone build going, and you're going to want to see where this thing's going to go. Alright, well that's all I got for today, so thanks for watching.